and they are ready for the Cardinals to take on the Dodgers as the NLDS on Fox Sports 1 is presented by Budweiser. It's the Dodgers, it's the Cardinals, Game 3 here tonight. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Tom Verducci is right over there. Harold Reynolds is right over there. Well, how about this series so far? It's been crazy. Game 1, you expect great pitching. Not going to see any hits, not going to see any runs, certainly. Thing ends up 10-9. Game 2, we got the good pitching. It ends up 3-2. Dodgers win after a Cardinals win in Game 1. So here we are tied at a game apiece. Starting to my left, that's you, Tom Verducci. Let's talk starting pitching, and let's talk this matchup. It's interesting because Ryu hasn't pitched for a while, and the guy on the other side, John Lackey, he knows how to pitch this time of year.
Oh, without question. This is the first time we don't have a Cy Young winner going, but it fascinates me because of the unknown. Lackey loves this time of year, more than 100 postseason innings, ERA a full run lower in the postseason, but he has 11 days of rest. His velocity was down at the end of the year. Ryu, 23 days of rest since his shoulder was barking in early September. The Dodgers say, we're not worried. He has such feel for his off-speed stuff. Joe, I think you could wake him up on New Year's Day in his slippers and his bathrobe. He would still have feel for those pitches.
Yeah, well, we're about to find out. If he does have that feel, he's pitched only one inning, and that happened on September 12th. He's been shut down with inflammation. So you, sir, I don't care how big your payroll is, the underbelly of every roster is middle relief, and that's been a problem already in this series for the Dodgers.
I think this game comes down to the bullpen. We've watched Rosenthal shut her down. We've watched Kenley Jansen shut her down. But you're right. The bridge to those guys is the key. And I really think the Dodgers are struggling. We watched Baez, didn't work. J.P. Howell didn't work. So this game will come down to the bullpens. And right now, I think it's advantage Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals have the advantage coming in. We'll see how it goes tonight. One thing we knew already for sure in this series, expect the unexpected.
That's the 8th strikeout for Kershaw. Carpenter swings and hits the Cardinals lead 7-6. It's got her. It ties the game. She is gone. Touch the sky.
season. He was the starter and winner in the clincher Game 6 of the World Series, winning it at Fenway against the Cardinals. And now, after a deadline deal, here he is. Started the season in Boston, ending it in St. Louis. And he takes the field for Game 3 here tonight. Here's a guy who, as a kid, as a rookie, was a Game 7 starter and winner in the World Series back in '02. He was the winner, as I mentioned, last year. And now here he is trying to help his new team, the Cardinals, get deeper into the postseason as he gets set for his 17th career postseason start. Here's the starting lineup for the Dodgers, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. D. Gordon leads off at second base. Yasiel Puig bats second in center. And Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Kemp. He's off to a great start. Hanley Ramirez, the shortstop. Carl Crawford in left. Juan Uribe at third. A.J. Ellis red hot after hitting 191 in the regular season. And pitching is Hyun-Jin Ryu. All that against John Lackey. There are his numbers in 10 starts after the trade from Boston. He finished 3-3, went through a dead arm phase. They got him a little extra rest, and he rolls in with even more rest prior to this start here tonight. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. Who wants to go first talking about John Lackey? I'm going to say the guy wearing pink over there on the far end.
That'd be me. Hey, listen, there's no mystery with this guy. Very aggressive on the mound. The velocity down in September at 91-92. The Cardinals expect it will be back up 93-94 with that rest you talked about, Joe. And also, it's October. He loves this time of year.
The Cardinals have been dominant from their starting rotation over the last 10 home games. Team overall 8-2, that during the regular season, but the starting pitching, an ERA under 1.5. Mike Matheny's club won the Central Division by 2 games. Here we go. Strike one. D. Gordon first up. 1 for 9 in this division series.
They've done a great job of getting ahead like a fastball right there for a strike, and then getting D. Gordon with breaking pitches.
Over, but a bit low. The count evens to the ball and a strike. Again, Puig to follow, then Adrian Gonzalez. This matchup between Lackey and Ryu. 2-1. For coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune in to Fox Deportes. There's Don Mattingly in his 4th year in the corner of the dugout for the Dodgers, pulling the strings. Gordon is on with a base hit. His 2nd hit of this series, and a guy who is a threat anytime he gets on base to create damage with what he can do speed-wise, stealing bags. This is the best matchup, Harold, for Gordon or anybody in this Dodger lineup to run with Lackey on the mound.
Lackey's very deliberate, got a high delivery, leg kick. Sometimes they try to get the slide step. D. Gordon, 3 for 6 this year against the Cardinals. 1 for 4 against Yachty back there through his career. But this is a great combination. Plus, it's good for Puig to get fastballs to hit.
There he goes. Didn't wait around long, and a swing and a miss, no throw. And a stolen base right out of the gate for D. Gordon.
Not wasting any time at all. Gets a great jump. Watch him explode all the way through. You got a guy in Lackey, like I said, deliberate delivery. I was surprised Puig swung. Usually when you're at the plate, you see a guy get that big a jump, you take the pitch. That's how much he's been struggling offensively.
He has struck out 5 consecutive times for Puig. And in this series, 2 for 8. Lackey's 0-1 is on the outside corner, strike 2.
You talk about the disruption of D. Gordon. Look at where the defense is going to have to play him. Here's a breaking pitch. You get a chance to look at it. The slider away. Talked about in the open or earlier today how they bust Puig in, then go outside. But look at where Wong has to play. Look at where the first baseman is playing. It's opened up everything because D. Gordon's speed.
Puig wouldn't chase. Ball 1.
See Lackey showing the breaking pitches, sliders to Puig. First time around the lineup, he loves to pound hitters with the fastball, but I think being in trouble this earlier, and the way they've gotten Puig on sliders away, he needs to dip into the breaking pitches a little earlier than he'd like.
Gordon inching away from second, stays put, swing and a miss, struck him out, and that's 6 times in a row. Yasiel Puig has hung up a K. 1-1.
Well, when you're struggling to swing at the first pitch, we saw that with Puig. Now they've got him again, chasing the ball away. They've got him to the point now where he's swinging before the ball's being delivered.
And that's a good sign for the Cardinals. Lackey's four-seamer at 94 miles an hour.
Now this is interesting, Joe, because they got the second baseman and the shift on with Adrian Gonzalez. With D. Gordon on second, this is a dangerous play. See Carpenter not too far off, but yet you can still beat that throw, because now it's essentially a throw on the run for Yadier Molina to hit Carpenter on the steal.
Batter is Gonzalez. Nobody drove home more runs in the big leagues this year than Adrian. 116 for the season. And he is a terrific hitter on the road. This is a good road team, the Dodgers. Ball one inside. Adrian Gonzalez was very definitive with what he expected tonight from John Lackey. And what he's looking for is to stay on top of it, get something over the heart of the plate. He expects Lackey to try and backdoor breaking ball him. But he has a game plan here tonight, trying to put the Dodgers on top here in the first. That gets away, and over to third goes Gordon. So Puig couldn't advance him. But and we'll wait and see what it is. Fastball or wild pitch does.
Yeah, it might be a pass ball. This hits his glove right here. That's a ball he has to catch. I know it ran, but usually he handles that pitch.
And it is a pass ball.
That's a four-seamer. He just pulled across his body. Catcher not expecting the four-seamer to be pulled in that direction there. You see him with the backhand. Can't quite get it.
I mean, that ball had major break on it. I mean, that broke 2 feet.
Then a visit from Yadier Molina out to John Lackey. As the infield comes in, it still takes almost perfection to cut down D. Gordon at the plate on a ground ball to one of these guys.
I'm a little puzzled by this.
Here's a 2-0. Outside corner, 2-1.
So early in the game to draw the infield in. I think with Ryu, that's either respect to him, feeling like they may not have the offense they're anticipating tonight. But I think to pull the infield in, you're opening up the inning with a base hit here instead of playing back, get your out and give up the run, concede it, and be ready to move on, get some runs.
Runner at third, 1 out, 2 balls and a strike. That's too far outside. Gonzalez very patient in this at bat. Count 3-1. The red hot Matt Kemp on deck. Big pitch here on 3-1. Runner at third, 1 away. Chased it. There goes the patience, and it's a full count.
Yeah, he does chase in this kind of situation. Infield in, he wants to drive the ball in the air to the outfield. You look up and you see the circle change up grip from Lackey. The tendency to go hunting what you're looking for. That one's out of the strike zone, just missed it.
Lackey wants a strikeout. Gonzalez fouls it away.
You know, it was interesting talking to Adrian before the game. He said he will show me 1 changeup. That was it. I mean, after you face guys a number of times, and he also played together with him in Boston and has followed his tendencies, you get an idea what a pitcher likes to do. And that's a pitch now he's probably eliminated, not even thinking about it. After he's seen the 1 changeup, he felt so sure that's all I'm going to see the whole night, that 1 changeup.
That's down the line. Holiday coming to get it. Gordon tagging up, but not deep enough. 2 out. And here comes Matt Kemp.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons they didn't send Gordon there, because Matt Kemp is so hot. I want to show you what he's been doing, the adjustments he made. On the left is May. What they've done is straighten him up. You see on the right, bringing him tall so he can stay through the ball and use his body. Early in the season, he was bent over, hunched back, and he wasn't able to use everything. The other thing on the left, his foot was blocking himself off. On the right, he squared him up. Now, that inside pitch, he's not fighting. You look at the head here. All of a sudden, now you got both eyes on the baseball. So major adjustments for Matt Kemp to fall into. Now the inside pitch, he was getting tied up on early in the year. And as you saw the other night, he's now able to get through it. So that's what Matt Kemp has done to be so hot.
Can we get a towel for Harold? Towel him off.
Ice, please.
Runner at third, 2 out. Kemp trying to rescue the inning for the Dodgers. Strike one.
I go back to the pop fly there. I mean, you know Matt Holliday doesn't throw real well, and D. Gordon runs. I think because Matt Kemp has been so hot, you take your chances and wait for him to hit. I was a little surprised in that inning.
Kemp, since the 3rd week of July, he's been about as good a hitter as there is in the league. 63 games. Since the 21st of July, he's hit .322, and he's averaged a home run every 13 at bats. He's hitting over 500 in this series with a home run, the game winner 2 nights ago in the bottom of the 8th inning to even this series at a game apiece. Lackey trying to get around that leadoff hit. Falls behind 2-1.
Home plate Del Scott. Tight zone tonight. So far what we've seen throughout the game.
See Yachty set up outside. This ball misses off the plate. He tries to pull it back.
Kemp in the air to center. Right there is Jay. Lackey gets around the hit and the steal. Dodgers strand a runner at third, and after a half, game 3 in St. Louis, no score. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live. Moss Carpenter leads it off, and Randall Grichuk, the rookie. Matt Holliday, Johnny Peralta with an H in a weird spot. Matt Adams, Yadier Molina, John Jay with no H. Colton Wong and John Lackey. Typical spelling of John. He's batting ninth. And here is Hyun-Jin Ryu. This guy can pitch. The problem is he's had an inflamed pitching shoulder and hasn't worked hardly at all in the month of September. Drills the outside corner to Matt Carpenter. Strike one.
Yeah, most pitchers, I'd say that's a problem, Joe. He doesn't even throw bullpen sessions between starts during the season. Just has a natural feel for the baseball.
South Korean left-hander misses with a breaking ball. This guy's 6'2", 254. He is a touch and feel pitcher, and typically those guys like to get the work in between starts to get the feel for those pitches. This guy hasn't been on a mound for real since the 12th of September. Strike two. 93. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign. We talked to Matt Holliday, and we've seen it before with Ryu. Sometimes he goes out there like he just woke up from a nap, and you'll see him at 88, even 87. That is an A+ fastball from Ryu right out of the gate.
A+ is how you would grade the work of Matt Carpenter so far in this series. That misses the outside corner, and Ryu hit a spot.
And you can already see the adjustment the Dodgers are trying to do. All the balls that Carpenter has been hitting were inside.
Which is a lot. Look at this.
Look at this.
I mean, in this series, the rest of the team compared to Carpenter, the home runs, the RBIs, the strikeouts. Good pitch and a strikeout to start the night. And so much for work in September. That looked like he knew exactly, Tom, what he was doing, Ryu, in that at bat.
That's just nasty, and the breaking ball works away from Carpenter. You said it, Harold. I don't think the Dodgers have done it intentionally with Carpenter, but in this series, he's 4 for 4 on inside pitches. Need to stay away from him. Nice job, Ryu.
One away, and the batter is Randall Grichuk. He has one hit. His one hit happened to be a one-out solo blast off Clayton Kershaw a few nights ago on Friday night at Dodger Stadium. Up there ready to hammer. Strike one. Meanwhile, here's the big news if you don't know. Clayton Kershaw is coming back on short rest to work in tomorrow late afternoon game against Shelby Miller. And then Don Mattingly, the manager of the Dodgers, will have Zach Greinke if there's a Game 5 on regular rest. It makes all the sense in the world. As he said, I've got 2 bullets. I'm going to use them both. And the Cardinals, if they're going to win this series, are going to have to beat them to get to the NLCS.
Yeah, I thought it was a no-brainer for Don Mattingly. Listen, he did it last year when they were up 2-1 in the division series by pitching Kershaw in Game 4.
Here's the 0-2 upstairs.
I mean, you give both those guys the money. They're the foundation of your organization. You don't go away without throwing them twice in this series, if need be.
The Dodgers win tonight. Kershaw can end it tomorrow. If the Dodgers lose tonight, they'll try to get the series back to LA. That is a strike for strike number 3. And Ryu has come right out of the gate and struck out the first 2, which allows us a chance to give you a replay. Look at this pitch.
That ball never got back, it looks like. He's done a nice job of mixing his curveballs. This is his version of a 12-6. We saw the slider thrown to Carpenter. We've watched the changeup, and he's popping the fastball. So he's got good stuff working right now.
Kenny, who can I turn to? Ken Rosenthal is down there. What do you got about Kershaw?
Well, Joe, you remember earlier in the season, Kershaw missed about 5 weeks with that back ailment. And the team felt at that time it might be a blessing in disguise because he would have more left at the end of the season and possibly for the postseason. Well, that's exactly what happened. He saved about 40 innings. Now, Tom mentioned that start last year against the Braves in the division series. The only difference now is that Kershaw has a 7-year, $215 million contract. You can bet that ownership was consulted before this decision was made.
Pretty good pitch there. Thanks, Kenny. And the count is 2-0. There are the pitches by season.
That's the sad part, though. If you have to consult ownership because he's got a $215 million contract, I'm sorry, big boy, you got to throw. I don't care how much you're making. You're that good. I understand the investment part, but come on now.
That's outside 3-0. I'm with you, and I guarantee if it's up to Kershaw, He's itching to get back out there after the late collapse, the 8-run 7th inning.
I guarantee you, as soon as he walked off the mound, he said, "Give me the ball."
What did he tell you today, Joe, when you were talking to him?
Yeah. Here's a 3-0. Swinging on 3-0, and how about that? The little on 3-0.
You knew he was swinging 3-0. This is the changeup. I mean, just that is in the center of the plate, and it goes to tell you what great arm speed that he has. That Holiday is way out in front of this pitch, even though it's in the heart of the plate.
That's a lot of respect, too.
That's strike 2. Come back, Matt Holland. Yeah, we saw Kershaw before the game. He said, "How you feeling?" And like he was channeling former manager of the Cardinals, Tony La Russa. He said, "I'll tell you after tomorrow night."
Right. Almost as if Ryu wants to find out exactly where that strike zone is. If Dale Scott on that outside corner, he's found the range.
Can he strike out the side? He thought he did, and it's ball 4. Wow. Ellis started to walk away. Hyun-Jin Ryu started to walk away. And Holiday walks down to first. Where's this pitch?
Well, they were getting the ball on the outside, and this one's in. So maybe Dale Scott's looking more out than necessary. Both these guys thought they had it.
He said Dale Scott is set up inside, had a real good look at it. A.J. Ellis, mask off, 2 steps to the dugout.
That's Ryu. He thought he had it. You don't see the catcher walk away like that very often because he's got the umpire breathing right down his neck. Here's Peralta, strike 1.
Yeah, and you're seeing different antics from players in the postseason, and the umpires are letting them get away with it. You do that in the regular season, you're going to have a long game. But short-term memory, you're keeping the guys in the game, and you don't hold a grudge. You got to keep going. You got to keep the game going.
A.J. Ellis was born in Missouri. He's been unbelievable with a bat. Peralta grounds to Uribe. One of the best in the business at third base. We're through a scoreless first. Back to work is Lackey. So far, so good. A good start for Ryu here in Game 3. Garver threw out the ceremonial first 42-footer and delivered it high and tight to his former battery mate. They switched places. The great Bob Gibson.
What's he saying to Bob right now?
I mean, I knew you'd catch it. I just had to throw it a little bit high.
I thought he was going to bounce it after all those sliders in the dirt.
That's what he told Pete Francesco, our producer.
From Bob Gibson. That was payback time.
Tim told Pete, I've been waiting forever to throw one in the dirt on Bob Gibson, but you can't bounce it. Ceremonial first pitch. No. We haven't seen him yet. He hasn't been in the booth. If you're listening, Tim, get up here. First pitch, a strike from John Lackey to Hanley Ramirez. We're underway in the second inning, no score. Hanley is 3 for 7. Plate umpire Dale Scott heard it from the Dodger bench. Here's one into right. That is going to be caught and now dropped. Looked like he had it, and it got under his glove and under his body. Grichuk, watch this effort.
I'm telling you, this kid's a center fielder playing in right.
Wow.
He is going to electrify this crowd before his career is over. His upside potential is off the charts.
Great effort. Just didn't have enough time to get the palm up.
That ball just disappeared under his body. Crowd thought he had it. I thought he had it. Instead, it's a base hit for Hanley Ramirez. And second straight inning, the Dodgers have put their leadoff man on. Here's Crawford.
And we've watched D. Gordon run first pitch. And don't be surprised, we've already watched Ramirez steal a bag in this series already. Watch him run as well.
The Cardinals during the regular season allowed the fewest stolen bases, 54 across baseball. And while everybody points to Yadier Molina, and he's a big reason why, it's the Cardinal pitching staff that gives Molina a chance to show off his arm with how quick they are to the plate. They've tried to make Lackey quicker. This is his first tour through the National League. That's fouled, strike one. And as Harold said there briefly, Tom, that's included teaching him and almost forcing him to use that slide step.
Yeah, they do force it, actually. It's called from the bench by Mike Matheny, the throwovers, the slide steps. You know, in Boston, base stealers 15 out of 16 this year with Lackey. A little better here in St. Louis, 2 out of 4. That's definitely a green light when he's on the mound.
Ramirez has no lead at all. I mean, he's not in a position to run yet.
No, and we talked about this the other night. It affects the hitter as well. If he gets a lead, you're distracting Lackey. We've talked so much already about the production you have stealing against him. Don't think John Lackey doesn't know that. The more you can distract his concentration from the hitter, the better off you are.
Just a nothing lead by Ramirez. He's not going anywhere. That's fouled by Crawford, strike 2. We'll see if Hanley gets further off. Crawford is a 479 hitter against John Lackey. He's got 23 hits and 48 at bats. 2 homers, 9 RBIs. And these two were in the American League for a long time and teammates for a short while.
That's why I like Matheny calling the slide steps and the throwovers. He's got to worry about the runner and the hitter. One less thing to worry about. Let the manager take care of that.
Crawford pops it up down the line. That ball is going to drop untouched out of the reach of Matt Carpenter. Are you surprised that Ramirez is as close to the bag as he is? I mean, it's not like Lackey's got a good pickoff move.
Yeah, no, I mean, at least give the effort. Again, I'm very surprised he's that close to the bag. But this guy right there on the right of your screen, Yadier Molina, another reason, because he has that snap throw to first base that holds base runners close. You're afraid about your secondary lead. That's after the pitch is delivered. You shuffle off. He gets you before you get a chance to go back.
Here's a 1-2. Crawford down the line. Holiday to his right. Back a bit. He's got it for out number 1. Back to the bag, Ramirez.
Just great positioning. And you know what? Lackey hitting the spots is so crucial. You got Holiday basically standing on the warning track for the foul pole. Look where this ball's at, and you're thinking when you hit this ball, hey, I got a chance it's going to get down the line or maybe foul. Nice piece of hitting, but you got a man standing right there. Takes a few steps over and makes the play.
Not a lot of foul territory down that line, but it was a foul ball for out number 1. Here's a 2-time world champion, Juan Uribe. Did it with the White Sox, did it with the Giants, and now working for the Dodgers. Ball 1 outside. Lackey was a second-round pick for the Angels in '99. Spent 11 years in Angels uniform. Came up in 2002, and that was the year he started and won Game 7 of the World Series in the victory against the San Francisco Giants. Won it with the Red Sox last year. Here he is a Cardinal. And a check on Ramirez.
Yeah, and that time Hanley's showing interest. As a base runner, you want to go ahead and do the same thing every time. Now he's getting the league, and all of a sudden he's showing interest in possibly running. So that's going to draw attention to you.
Yeah, you really don't have to worry about the pickoff move. It's not a very good one. Last runner he picked off 4 years ago. I think he can stretch the lead.
4 years? Wow.
Yeah, he looks like he wants to go. There he goes. Uribe flies one into center. Back is Jay. On the run, he's got it. 2 out. And Ramirez has to scoot back to first. Tom, they were picking on John Jay's work in center a couple of years ago here in St. Louis. I've always seen him as a very solid, smooth center fielder with the Cardinals.
Well, listen, last year they made the trade for Peter Borges. You watch Ramirez. He'll touch second base and have to retouch on the way back. They got Borges because they thought they needed to get more athletic in the outfield. And what happened was the competition, I believe, and John Mozeliak, the GM, has confirmed this, has made John Jay a better ball player, including the way he runs after the ball in center field.
Here's A.J. Ellis with a runner at first. And 2 out now. Strike 1 on the inside corner. Look at A.J. 5 out of 8. And in his postseason career is a .385 hitter.
That's very difficult to do in front of the pitcher because you know they're not going to give you much to hit, knowing that the third out can sit on the on-deck circle if you need it.
There's strike 2. Lackey trying to get around back-to-back leadoff singles. There's the numbers against the Cardinals specifically. Outside, ball 1. Home plate umpire is Dale Scott. He's the crew chief. Working this pivotal game 3 with Eric Cooper at first, Jerry Lane at second, Alan Porter at third, Jerry Meals in left, and Rob Drake in right. Same spot, 2-2.
It is hard to get A.J. Ellis outside of the strike zone. Last 2 pitches just off the edge of the plate. Goes to the slider right here. He's not biting. Very patient hitter. You really need to get him out in the strike zone.
Tell you what, Lackey looks sharp though. Got crisp fastball, sliders, got some tilt to it, and he's located. If you're going to miss that little bit, it's a great thing.
Into right field, another hit for Ellis. A.J. Ellis has been a machine in that number 8 spot. He's now 6 for 9. And if nothing else, he clears Ryu here in the second inning.
Well, he clears Ryu as leading off the next inning if he makes the out. So that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, he clears him here in the second and gives Ryu, who can swing the bat, a little bit an RBI chance in the top of the second inning.
It's amazing. AJ swinging it.
Yeah, this is not an automatic out here. Maybe not Zach Greinke, but a good hitter.
Strike one. Throws left, bats right.
But it is the difference between the American League and the National League. And John Lackey, all those years in the American League, has finally figured out in the National League. Look, I got an out in an inning like this now that I can get out of it with.
Good pick by Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 RBIs during the regular season for Ryu.
Some pride going on too. Some competition between those pitchers as who's the better hitter. You got Kershaw, Greinke we saw the other night, and this guy right here can swing it too.
Trying to put the Dodgers on top. There's a strike. Strike 2.
There's that slider you're talking about, Harold. Has excellent control with that pitch this early in the game. Everything on the black or just off.
One thing that's happening here, Joe, is the stress pitches. 37 pitches, but they're stressful. You know, John Smoltz used to talk about it all the time. There's a difference between cruising and having stress pitches. And even the Dodger pitchers, you get to the 9th guy, you think you got a chance to get out of it, they make you work.
The 2-2. Got him. And the inning is over. Dodgers have stranded 3 on a beautiful night from the other side of the Mississippi. Looking back inside Busch Stadium, no score after an inning and a half. Budweiser. If you want a fresh Budweiser, you can drive about 3 minutes south of here, where it's brewed. Where will you be the next time history is made? Harold? Be there for all the action in 2015. Go to MLB.com/season tickets to reserve your seat today.
I'm going to be right here, Joe, because history is being made in this series.
This has been fun, man. As you said, Tom, going to break just after as Adams lines a base hit into right center field. Can Puig cut it off? He does. Good play by Yasiel Puig, and then throws a seed into second to lead off single.
You called it. I like to say every night Puig will do something to make you just go, wow, did you see that? Now listen, Matt Adams, not the greatest speed in the world, but give Puig credit for getting in position to make a good throw. Good, strong throw from the outfield position. Again, Adams not likely going to second base, but the hustle to get over there and cut it off made the play.
Puig has improved so much from a year ago. He still makes outs on the bases, but more of the fundamental stuff is there, and he's really impressed his manager, Don Mattingly, as Molina takes a strike after the hit by Adams, with how he has worked in center field. He's made this whole thing go with these 4 pieces for 3 outfield spots. When he took over center, Kemp went to right, and Crawford got the call in left.
Yeah, if he couldn't handle center, then I think the Dodgers would have a little bit of a problem, but he has been terrific. We saw him cut the ball off in left center field in LA the other night. You have to watch him play in person to really appreciate him because he's so fast for his size.
Molina down into the corner, hooking foul. Strike 2.
Now you saw Yadi Molina square around, take the first pitch. There's no way he's going to be bunting because you got John Jay up next, but a lot of times that's to track the baseball. And one of the things the Cardinals do better than most teams in the big leagues is they make contact. And Yadi's one of those guys that makes contact. How do you do that? You track the baseball and give yourself a chance to see what that other pitcher's throwing.
That's foul. Matt Adams, meanwhile, who hit 190 during the regular season against left-handed pitching, got one of the big hits against Kershaw in that 8-run 7th on Friday night. And here he is against a left-hander, Ryu, getting a base hit to start this second.
You know what's interesting, Joe, is Ryu actually, the batting average against him is higher by left-handed hitters. Why? He tends not to throw the changeup to the left-handers. And I think that's his best pitch.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt Adams can hit. He's going to be a big-time hitter. He's just learning. You know, we're watching the game turn over to young players, and they're still learning how to play.
Here's one into center field. It'll drop for a base hit. 2 on, nobody out. Back-to-back singles by Adams and Molina.
Again, it goes back to making contact. Talked about it with Yadi. He's got about, what, around 45 strikeouts all season. But watch him stay on this breaking pitch. Watch him keep the head down, stay with it. That is as good a picture shot that you're going to have. Great camera work to see a guy track a ball, stay on it, and be able to drop it in.
Now it's set up for John Jay. If you want to talk about good left-handed hitters against left-handed pitching, here's a guy who hit .375 against left-handers this season. Ball 1 outside.
This is interesting here. I don't think he's bunting, and the Dodgers are kind of playing it. You know, the other night we heard Mike Matheny use the word hybrid on their bunt defense. The Dodgers are kind of trying to figure out what they're doing. Now they've backed off into a double play situation. But you can't bunt him here because you go Wong to the pitcher.
Up on the count, 2-0.
Yeah, not going to bunt to the 8-9 positions in the lineup. And that left side, I think, is in play here with John Jay, especially against the left-hander. We saw him do that to Clayton Kershaw. I think he more naturally hits the ball the other way than he does pull it.
Jay looking for a pitch on 2-0.
Look out. Bullet into the seats. But Tom, you're right. You see him take that inside out stroke right there. Watch him take this ball and drive it the other way. He's trying to shoot that hole. Saw him earlier today, and he was talking about how people will pull that shortstop up the middle and he'll try to shoot that hole. Did it against Watson of Pittsburgh. That was the first time he really did it successfully off a lefty. Did it again, trying to shoot it over there.
He did it off Kershaw. One of the other singles in that 8-run 7th inning on Friday night. And these last 2 swings, the ball's been in a little more on his hands than he expected. The count's even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Interested observers, Clayton Kershaw. There's a more interested observer and participant. Ryu, the 2-2. Just inside is he missed by inches, and the count is full.
Great idea, though. Great pitch. You got to recognize and read a batter's swing. You hear that a lot. How's he trying to approach you? So you go busting back inside because you know he wants to shoot that ball left field.
Breaking ball, check swing, he went, and a strikeout instead of ball 4. And a big call by the third base umpire, Alan Porter. Not much of a protest put up by John Jay.
Yeah, you don't think this guy has confidence in his breaking stuff? That ball bounced actually in front of the plate. Let's watch the barrel of the bat. Does it cross in front of the plate? I think that's a good call.
Well, you know what set that up right there? Mike didn't like the call, but what set it up was the 2-2 fastball inside. Busting it hard in on him, and now you saw John Jay get out to go protect the fastball, and here comes the slider.
Well, now this inning basically sits with this number 8 batter, Colton Wong. 2 on, nobody out, now 2 on, 1 out with a pitcher on deck. And Colton, for a rookie, he's had flashes of brilliance. This guy can run. He stole 20 bags. He hits home runs. He hit 12. Spent some time injured this year on the DL. Hit 249. He can play.
He can. He really can.
Lefty on lefty. Shattered bat. It stayed. They're going to say foul.
Oh,
that was close. Ooh. That is the home plate umpire's call till it gets to the bag, and there was kind of a moment of limbo there for a second.
Yeah, I think they got this one right.
Well, they're waiting to look and see if they might replay this. Watch your rebate, try to keep that ball fair. It's going to be a foul ball.
Yeah, it's a foul ball and a good call.
And no replay available on balls in the infield, fair or foul.
Now, anytime the ball's before it gets to the bases, that's the home plate umpire's call. That's why you saw Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, hop out and make that call. That's a tough call right there. You got it right.
And the count 0-2. 2 on, 1 out. Adams, the lead man, with Molina behind him. Very good speed on the bases for St. Louis.
Did you think it was strange to see Uribe throw that to second?
Yeah.
I did too.
Here's the 0-2. Typically, when guys have shoulder issues like Ryu had, they don't finish on pitches. And there's good finish by Ryu in late life on these pitches from the Dodger left-hander.
I agree. Don Mattingly has to be really happy, at least, with the stuff he's bringing to the mound.
Going to be tough to turn to. Gordon out. No other play. First and third, 2 out. Lackey coming up. Wong about as fast as there is on this Cardinal team. And now Ryu has his counterpart standing in his way. So he tries to get around the leadoff hits. Leadoff hit by Adams, followed by the hit by Molina. And here's Hyun-Jin Ryu. And you would never believe this guy's coming off an inflamed shoulder.
No, and that's the finish you're talking about. You can see that arm actually slap himself on the other side of his body. Be interesting here. I wonder if they're going to try to steal a run.
Lackey showed these Cardinals that he's a better hitter than he let on. You can see he gets a pretty good rip. When he got to St. Louis, he was joking about not being a good hitter. He ended up 2 out of 15, and he gets a pretty good rip.
Watch his reaction right here. That's like a middle-of-the-order hitter saying, I just missed it. That's a pitcher thinking like a middle-of-the-order hitter.
He thinks like an offensive tackle. That's inside. And Lackey is about as intense a baseball player as you're going to find. He reminds a lot of his new teammates of Chris Carpenter, who was here for years and really brought a grit to this St. Louis team. Strike 2.
Tell you what, this was a dangerous inning for the Dodgers. If he's able to get out of this without any damage, because the problem has been the bridge. We talked about it in the open. If you get to Ryu early and you get him out of this game, it's very problematic. And I know Dan Herron is ready to go for the Dodgers. He was going to start tomorrow's game, so they've got him ready for today. But the rest of the bullpen has been scuffling so bad that it could have been really problematic. They could get something going.
Breaking ball. Lackey lays off. And the count evens at 2-2. On deck is Carpenter. Lackey's just trying to get it to him. Just missed again.
Talked about a tight zone with Del Scott. You see Don Madden telling everybody to play back. Here it is again.
It's a tight zone on the inside part of the plate. You see Dale Scott. He will follow the catcher as Ellis moves in.
Another foul.
Tell you what, you got to want that pitch, though. If you're the Dodgers, you got to want a couple of those pitches.
Especially 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on.
Runner at first will take off again. That's Colton Wong. The 3-2 to Lackey. With the dangerous Carpenter on deck. Should end the inning. And it does. Ramirez makes the play. And Ryu gets into and out of trouble. 3rd inning rolls in. Top of the order coming up for the Dodgers. No score. Continues doubleheader beginning with game 4 of this series as Shelby Miller takes on Clayton Kershaw. Then the Nationals try and force a Game 5 as they take on the Giants. We'll once again look to close out their series. Coverage begins tomorrow at 4 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Our coverage starts at 4 Eastern. The game time is 1 hour 7 minutes later, so 5:07 Eastern, 4:07 here locally, and 2:07 LA time. Third inning, each side will have the top of their lineup. For the Dodgers, that means D. Gordon, Yasiel Puig, and Adrian Gonzalez against John Lackey. He has joined us with other sporting events going on around the world. We'll recap. Not much has gone on, except the Dodgers have put their leadoff man on in each of the first 2 innings. The Cardinals just put their first 2 on in the bottom of the second. Yasiel Puig, who's up next, has struck out 6 consecutive times in this series. Gordon shows a bunt, takes a strike. It's 0-2.
Well, a lot of times when umpire you square around, you show that bunt. We've been watching Del Scott on the inside pitch. Seems to be the tough pitch for him tonight.
The 0-2. 0-1.
As far as the Dodgers are concerned, Tom.
Well, this is where that at bat by A.J. Ellis, the base hit, looms large. Instead of having Ryu begin the inning, you've got D. Gordon up there putting pressure on the infielders and Lackey leading off the inning.
He singled and stole the base in the first inning. Stays alive here. The guy who, among National League hitters, led in infield hits, led in bunt hits. Bunt goes out the window with a count of 1-2. At 64 steals during the regular season, he strikes out. 3 strikeouts for John Lackey, 1 away. It'll bring in Yasiel Puig.
Well, here's the nasty slider down and in to get him. And that's what they've been doing with D. Gordon to punch him out.
Exactly right. During the season, he was in the top 10 in seeing the most fastballs. Postseason, different story. They've been attacking him with breaking balls.
Breaking ball is in the dirt. Ball 1.
That's a little half smile, a sigh of relief. He hasn't had a 1-0 count probably in the last 6 strikeouts.
Seems like it's 0-2 when he steps out of the on-deck circle.
Here's a 1-0. Late swing, strike 1 to a guy who hit .379 over his first 58 games a year ago. Hit .234 after. Then in the LCS, when the Dodgers lost to the Cardinals in 6 games, he hit .227, but 10 strikeouts in 23 plate appearances, and now he's got 6 in a row in this division series. Not close.
Well, what's funny is we've watched Yasiel Puig drop a bunt down for a base hit. I mean, if you strike out 6 times in a row, you got the third baseman playing you back there, you got to peek around, drop a bunt. But his mind is so messed up right now, he's trying to hit a ball to the ballpark instead of thinking about slow the game down and get myself back into the game.
He checks it on ball 3, 3-1.
Ooh. That's a strong man right there. Be able to hold that back.
Good call by the first base umpire, Eric Cooper. So now Puig should sit on a pitch with a count 3-1, 1 out, nobody on. Yasiel chased a pitch down and away, and boy, he is really searching for it.
Yeah, he's expecting fastball 3-1, slider grip from Lackey, perfectly positioned again off the plate, consistently getting him out off the plate.
Well, they've done a great job of doing that, but he's got to lock in on a 3-1 pitch.
What's coming on 3-2? Fastball, foul ball. We'll do it again. Guy who's been the mentor for Yasiel Puig and the protection in the lineup for Yasiel Puig and Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Another strikeout. 7 straight for Yasiel Puig.
don't think I've seen anybody go through a stretch like this. But they've done a nice job of being able to pitch to him, and it's the ball away, the ball in. We can say whatever we want. He's not going to catch up to it right now.
They're just announcing to him the ball's going to be away. I know they began the series pounding him in, consistently getting him out of the way.
Now Adrian Gonzalez. He hit 27 home runs during the regular season. Back was Colton Wong. Plenty of time in a 1-2-3 inning first of the game for Lackey. Top of the order coming up for the Cardinals. Bottom of the third in St. Louis, no score.
First pitches during the regular season, lowest rate in the National League so far in this series. 3 extra base hits, 2 homers, and a double off the first pitch. And Joe,
what's he going to do against Ryu here? He's going to take. It's on the outside corner in a good spot again from Ryu. Strike one.
Well, the difference is on the first pitch he'd been locked in on an inside pitch, and now they've painted him on the outside. The first 2 pitches he's seen in tonight's game.
Through a lot of change, Tom Bertucci, in the front office and in the managerial spot for the Dodgers. The guy who's hung in there tough is Rick Honeycutt as the pitching coach, and he's done a terrific job guiding this staff. He's got a lot to work with, but Honey is in his 9th year with the Dodgers, and they love what he does.
Well, they should. Anytime you survive regime changes, ownership, manager changes, it says something about somebody who's worth keeping. And I'll go back to Ryu and his habits.
After a 1-2, and here's a fly ball right center. Back at the wall. It is gone. Carpenter, number 3. 1-0 St. Louis. Here's Grichuk. Ball one outside.
I love the curtain call, and deservedly so. Look, we're watching a star breaking out in Matt Carpenter. I think the move to third base this year, back to his natural position, has really allowed him to settle in. Plus the postseason experience. We're watching a guy now that understands how to let the game slow down and what he can do in a big moment. We're watching a star being born right in front of our eyes.
And long-term security, Tom, with a contract and a lot of money to lead off and play third.
That is the wrong man to make a mistake to right now. Just on fire.
2-2 on Grichuk.
Yeah, but I think it was the last inning that put this in play for the Cardinals. Talked about the stress pitches. Ryu being in that tough, stressful inning, even with the at-bat from Lackey, carries over. You're making him work.
That's high, a full count. Rick Honeycutt and the Dodgers have seen enough of Matt Carpenter. 8 home runs during the regular season, 3 home runs already in this series. Here's one into left. Crawford is there. One up.
Well, you know what's been impressive with Carpenter is all 3 home runs are off lefties. You know, so you think, hey, we got a left-hander, we can neutralize him. He's got Kershaw, he got Ryu tonight, and he got J.P. Howell the other day. All lefties, Tom.
Yeah, that's what I mean by mistakes, though, Harold. That's a fastball that obviously Ryu doesn't want there. Some guys you can get away with it. Not Matt Carpenter right now. Allowed only Ryu 1 home run to lefties all year. Hottest man in baseball got him.
Matt Carpenter, who is a coach's kid, basically turned himself and hit himself into being a prospect. Here's Holiday, strike one. A guy who played an extra year at TCU, wasn't really highly regarded coming out of college. Kind of one of those filler guys in the minor leagues, and he just went to work. And here he is with the long-term contract. He has a regular job in the big leagues. He's a leadoff hitter. Not the prototypical leadoff hitter. Great batting eye, and he's showing pop in this series.
Ran into his parents in the airport yesterday morning when we got in, and talked with his dad, who was his coach, and also James Loney. They grew up playing together in high school ball. His dad was their coach in high school ball.
2-1 on Holiday.
Exactly what you're talking about. Loney was the top prospect. You know, everybody was wondering, are they going to draft him as a pitcher, or is he going to be the first baseman? A lot of times when you have that kind of talent, everybody comes to see that guy, and then boom, they see Matt Carpenter as well.
Right side base hit. Holiday on base, second time tonight.
And Joe, there were times in college when Matt Carpenter was not well regarded. He went to TCU and ballooned up close to 250 pounds. It's hard to believe looking at him now. And his coach said, listen, we brought you in here to be one of our studs. You're eating yourself off the roster. He committed himself right there, got himself a trainer, changed his diet. It's a lot of hard work that went into that story.
Paid off last year when he really showed what he could do. As Harold alluded to, the Cardinals basically forced him into the second base position to be able to go across on the other side of second base and play the way he did. It shows his skill. Great hands. Now he's back at third, and he is drilling the Dodgers. Ball one outside to Peralta.
Guys, we're starting to see different stuff out of Ryu's hand now. You can see it. The first inning or so, exploding. We were all raving about it. Now he's starting to leave balls over. Doesn't look like he's got as much stuff. So this is a turning point. Missing his spots. It's a dangerous, critical juncture. Starting to see guys start stretching out the Dodger bullpen now, because I think they're seeing what we're seeing.
The long guy tonight is Danny Herron. Kershaw set to pitch tomorrow. That's on the corner in the count 2-1. And a good pitch behind on the count from Ryu.
Tom, the race tonight for Ryu is to get to the 6th or 7th.
Tom Mattingly said, perfect world, we will take 7. bullpen has been a big issue in 2 games. I have not seen, other than the one pitch to Matt Holliday, a real good changeup out of Ryu. You see the frustration on his face. And that's usually his go-to pitch. That's what you have to believe. Even with a guy with a good feel for the baseball, 23 days of rest coming into play.
Here is a 3-1.
That's a good change right there.
Yeah, behind on the count. He fooled Peralta, full count.
You know he's going to go to it. He showed Holliday a 3-0 changeup. So 3-1 to Peralta. Absolutely, he's going to go to this pitch again until he gets that feel. Man, that's beautiful because the arm speed was there. It looked like the fastball out of the hand.
Got him. Back-to-back changes for strikeout number 4.
Tripled up on the changeup. How about that, Harold? This is the quality changeup from Ryu, and to throw it 3 times in a row tells you the confidence he has in it. Like a lot of really good changeup pitchers, he has a very small hand, so that ball can get deep into the hand. Think of Greg Maddux going back years to Billy Swift. Much easier for a guy with smaller hands to throw the changeup.
Well, that was the best one too. You saw the sink in the bottom of that one. But to come back 3 times, I guess he heard us up here and he said, "What? I can't throw a changeup? Let me show you guys what I can do." Boom, boom, boom.
And Peralta takes a seat. Here's Matt Adams. Singled his first time, was stranded. Ryu got into and out of trouble last inning. He's given up the leadoff home run to Carpenter here in the 3rd inning. A 1-out hit by Holliday. Battled back to get Peralta. And now a strike to Matt Adams. Singled into right center field his first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's not afraid to pitch inside. That's pretty impressive. Good look at the defense. He wants him to hit that ball right there to second base.
Off the end of the bat, falling in a hurry. Ramirez looking for help. What a catch! Hanley Ramirez ran a mile into left center field, stuck the glove out, and ended the inning. An inning that began with more of the same from Matt Carpenter. Extra base hits all over. He's got 5. He's got 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 1 in this 3rd inning to put St. Louis on top. 1-0. 3 innings, the Dodgers have put their leadoff man on base. Right now it's Matt Kemp leading it off in the 4th. Kemp fly to center his first time. 1-0 St. Louis. Here's one off the end of the bat. Late break out of the box by Kemp. 1 away. Time for our in-game interview brought to you by DirecTV. Moments ago, we spoke to Don Mattingly, and I asked about how thrilled he was with the pitching so far of his left-hander Ryu.
He's been amazing. We got a little there in that inning, got a few balls up. I think there are a couple of them with a changeup though, and they bounced right back and got Johnny, and gets Matt right there. Yeah, have you seen enough of Matt Carpenter yet in this series? Oh, way too much. I'm thinking Stan Musial somewhere is rolling around in that body. Yeah. Jesus. Hey, we just saw Clayton Kershaw walk up behind you and go into the dugout. You're tabbing him for tomorrow's start. Really a no-brainer, right? Pretty easy for us. We kind of looked at the beginning of the series. That's what we thought we wanted to go, no matter what the situation was. But we wanted to make sure he got through his start, felt good. Wasn't one of those starts where we asked him to go 125 or 30. Then we wouldn't have tried to do that. But the situation we're in, Clayton feels good. That's where we want to go. Thanks, Don. All right, thank you. Another good game here in game number 3. He gets the ball in game 4 tomorrow, late afternoon start against Shelby Miller. Cardinals have been adamant that Adam Wainwright would not come back on short rest. Lackey brings it to Ramirez with 1 out. The count evens to the ball and a strike. If you want to know what kind of stuff Lackey has tonight, all you got to do is look at the Dodgers. Matt Kemp first pitch swinging, Hanley Ramirez first pitch swinging, because you don't want to get behind when he's got the nasty crisp slider to go with his stuff. So he's been very effective, and he's impressed that other dugout. Here's a broken bat flare into center. Jay is there. 2 out. We were going to break and saluting the work of Matt Carpenter in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but how about the way that bottom of the 3rd ended with a catch by Hanley Ramirez? Tremendous. I thought when it went up it was a no-doubter that Carl Crawford was going to get to that ball. Hanley looked up. What was impressive is he looked away, had to find it, and still go get it. Yeah, nice catch. Here's Crawford. Fouled out his first time with a runner at 3rd, 1 out. That was Molina who made Lackey stop after he had started his windup. First pitch. Strike 1. Again, first pitch swinging. That's 3 hitters in a row.
Classic Lackey pattern has been attack first time around with fastballs, mix in off speed second time around.
Among active pitchers, Tom. Now Lackey's in front of Sabathia, who was not active enough this year for the Yankees.
17 postseason starts.
And he has really settled in. Fastball in for strike 2.
Well, this guy's built for the postseason, you know, with the focus and just the way he goes about his work, the stare down, the gruff look. I'm coming after you. It says everything about postseason when you look at John Lackey.
We were there at the end of July at Fenway Park when the Cardinals pulled off that trade with the Boston Red Sox and picked up John Lackey with 2 major pieces going the other way. A young right-hander who could bring it, Joe Kelly, and a guy who was all-world with runners in scoring position the last 2 years, Alan Craig. They got Lackey for a night like tonight.
A night like this, and because Wainwright was leaking oil a little bit at the time. Needed some protection.
Lackey picks it up and gets the out. John Lackey pumped up. And why not? After 3.5 in St. Louis game 3, as the 35-year-old gets off the mound and makes the play, his Cardinals lead the Dodgers 1-0.
Joe can say it.
A swinging bunt starts the bottom of the fourth inning, and out in front of the plate is A.J. Ellis to take care of Yadier Molina. One pitch, one out. Here it is.
Ball ran on him. He thought it was going to be in more, and you see that last late tail on the ball. That's why he ends up nubbing it. Nice play by A.J. Ellis to hop out and get that spin before it bounces back.
J.J. and A.J. John Jay with A.J. catching it, and it's a strike. John's been a nice defensive play in this game. Struck out his first time. 1-0 St. Louis, and there it is again, Harold, with Ryu pitching inside to a lefty.
Yeah, I want to see if John Jay changes his approach. Remember, he's trying to shoot all those balls to left field, and then Ryu started trying to bust him in. So if you want to come in, I want to see if he's going to spin on one.
Almost tried to spin into one.
Seats kid.
2-1. He would not have been heartbroken had this glanced off his leg.
He's like, please, please, please. Missed it.
Fans are already big and needed him bigger. That's into center. Forget the hit by pitch. How about a single? And the Cardinals' 5th hit of the night.
I think he caught a little bit of A.J. Ellis on the follow through there with his bat on the backswing. He's running down the first, looking behind him. This is a missile. Well, it might have been catcher's interference. I think he was looking at the glove. That ball might have ricocheted a double hit right there. I think he thought he might have had catcher's interference.
Watching John Jay look back after that hit was very unusual.
Yeah, that's when you catch a bit of the catcher's glove, but since it was a base hit, you take it. But if it ends up being at somebody, you go, hold it, timeout. I want the base.
Here's Wong now, 1 on, 1 out with Lackey on deck. Kid from Hawaii, Golden Wong. Here's that swing by Jay.
Watch Jay's reaction right there, and he's going to look back behind him as if to say, hey, that was catcher's interference.
However hard it was coming in, it went out at 100.
Did.
By the glove of Ryu. Golden Wong, a former first-round pick from Hawaii, settling into the big league level. Cardinals had and signed Mark Ellis, who was with the Dodgers a year ago, but Ellis, bothered by a bad knee, he's not on the active roster for this division series. Had a frustrating year. Real good guy, good player. 1-1 pitch. Might be 2. Flip, out. Throw across, out. Double play, ends the inning, and sends us into the 5th of a well-pitched, well-played game. 1-0. Cardinals on top. Good pitching. One big swing of the bat. Who else? Matt Carpenter with a home run in the bottom of the third inning, leading off. And here comes Juan Uribe with A.J. Ellis and the pitcher Ryu to follow. Ryu's doing his part, but Lackey has outdueled him to this point.
It's been a great series.
Everything's been tight. Didn't look like it was going to be that way on Friday night. Ended up a one-run game, and that caught Dale Scott.
Well, I like the fact that as you move through the series, you start to see the scouting reports and how the guys are starting to adjust. How do I play guys positionally? You see Dale Scott take one off the mask. I was saying the other day, Joe, I wouldn't be a catcher, and I don't think I'd be the umpire either.
See Yadi Molina buying some time for his fellow fraternity member, the men in the masks. Dale Scott saying, let's go, I'm ready.
So back behind the plate is the 6-time Gold Glove Award winner.
That might earn you a pitch right there on a tight strike. Hey, I'm sorry. I got to get that call my way.
Here's the 0-1. And there's a strike to make it 0-2.
Maybe they got it back.
A.J. Ellis next. He's only 6 out of 9 in this series. He and Kemp been the most consistent hitters for the Dodgers. That's up and away, 1-2.
Well, as we settle into this game here in the 5th inning, and you've gone through the lineups a couple times, you're also understanding what the umpires call. And Dale Scott's been pretty consistent on that inside pitch he's not calling.
Strikeout smothered by Molina. The out at first, 1 away. Time for our in-game interview brought to you by DirecTV. Moments ago we spoke with Mike Matheny. First question was about Lackey, and well, this is the reason why you get John Lackey just locked in.
He looks good, and the ball's jumping out of his hand well. Looks like his fastball's got good movement. He's getting some good swings on his slider as well. You can tell he's got a good slot working, and feels good and feels confident.
And with A.J. Pierzynski dancing around behind you, as we would expect A.J. to do. Tell us about Matt Carpenter, and I mean, I know you've been impressed since you took over as manager here, but this guy's on a roll and just carrying this lineup right now.
You know, he sets the tone for our club and our offense. He's done it all season, where he goes up and takes tough at bats. You know, we haven't seen the 3 home runs in 3 days very often, but he's got that in the tank. But he is going to put together a good at bat, and he's going to see a lot of pitches. He's going to work them, and he's able to capitalize when they make mistakes.
I pity you if there's a time in this game when you have to go out and get the ball from John Lackey. Good luck with that.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Mike Scioscia used to have to try and do that. Then it was either Francona or Farrell. I guess Bobby Valentine. That was the year, I believe, that Lackey missed. But managers don't like to go out and try and get that baseball out of his right hand.
I mean, look at him right now. He's cruising. He's not even mad. Imagine when he's upset what he looks like.
He has shouted down managers on the mound. Famous pictures of John Lackey barking, "I got this, I got this."
You gotta love that, though, and I know all the managers do. Love the competitiveness.
Here's a 1-2. 2-2. Kenny Rosenthal, you have more?
Yeah, I asked Mike Matheny about this yesterday, about removing Lackey from games, and he said, I've had some interesting looks and conversations. Every time I take him out, I know it's going to be something. But at the same time, the Cardinals expected that, and in fact, Joe, they wanted that. They don't want a guy looking out to the bullpen for a life preserver. They want someone who wants to pitch.
Well, they got him, the number 41, who has run the count full on a tough out in this series, A.J. Ellis.
I tell you what, and it rubs off on the young guys. When you got all these young pitchers on the staff and through the organization like the Cardinals do, that rubs off. You want that guy out there saying, this is my ball, this is my game. Especially in a day and age when we say 6 innings, good job, go to the house.
(3-2). Just down and away, and that's the first walk of the night. Handed out by John Lackey. Here's what we're talking about. Flashback, not that far back. Game 5 ALCS 2009. Mike Scioscia was on the receiving end of this.
Come on, Scioscia, this is mine. You know, I said when They acquired him. It was in part protection because Wainwright, you see a bunt situation here in play with Ryu at bat, was grinding through some starts.
Good bunt. Down to second. Ellis, the tying run, 2 out.
And Wainwright threw 276 innings last year, including the postseason. And that's another reason why he's not an option for Game 4 for St. Louis. Belongs to Shelby Miller. Kershaw comes back, saves some bullets with the injury early on that Ken Rosenthal talked about. Wainwright not an option.
Tell you what, the pitchers are helping themselves out in this series. Whether it's swinging the bat or moving runners like that, they're giving themselves an opportunity to pick up runs for their team. We watched it with Greinke the other night. We watched it with Lackey. We've watched it. Everybody's been able to execute. That's a big thing.
Let's see what Gordon can do. He's 1 for 2. Actually, he's done well this year with runners in scoring position. He's at 297. And you don't expect that kind of production out of a leadoff guy who drove home 34. Hit only 2 home runs. He's got the tying run at second, 2 out here in the 5th.
He's got a different situation than he's used to because Yasiel Puig has been struggling so much. He may see more breaking balls than he's probably accustomed to.
And a rare inside strike called by Dale Scott. 0-2.
I talked earlier about being consistent. When you get to the 5th inning, you're thinking that ball's not going to be called, and now it gets called on you.
Right side, Adams to the bag. Lackey gets around the walk and the bunt. And we're halfway through game number 3 here in St. Louis. Lackey on top. The Dodgers and Ryu. 1-0. Do you remember the game John Lackey pitched last year in the ALCS for Boston at Detroit? Matched up against Justin Verlander, series tied at a game apiece. I thought it was the most important start the Red Sox had the entire postseason that led them to another championship. 1 out after 1 pitch to start the bottom of the 5th inning. Saturday college football returns. West Virginia takes on Texas Tech. On Fox Sports 1, Northwestern battles Minnesota on the Big Ten Network. And 2 of the nation's top quarterbacks clash in a pivotal Pac-12 battle. 12th ranked Oregon takes on 18th ranked UCLA on Fox. Also 16th ranked Oklahoma State squares off against Kansas. Fox Sports 1 coverage begins at noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Carpenter, good breaking ball for a strike. That game 3 against Verlander in Detroit. Lackey, who just flied out to center, went 6 2/3, no runs, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, and really solidified the upper hand as Carpenter shatters Wonder Boy his bat and grounds out to short.
Pick me out a winner, Bobby. That's the new one.
So if that was a lucky bat, how about this, Tom? Carpenter has hit 3 home runs off left-handers in this postseason and 8 at-bats. Had 2 off lefties the entire regular season and 183 at-bats.
Wow. Think he's locked in? It's funny, as he came to the plate, I started thinking, here comes that man again. And of course, that's how Stan Musial got the nickname. The fans in Brooklyn, every time they looked up, Stan Musial destroying the Dodgers, became Stan the Man. We got to get a name for Mr. Carpenter. Dodger fans probably have a few right now that we're not going to pass along.
Exactly. Ball 1 to Randall Grichuk.
I never knew that about Stan the Man.
Stan the Man.
Great nugget. Comes that man again. Hey, there was a buzz in the stands when Carpenter came to the plate, though.
Here's a 1-0. There was also rain during the break. A little shower passed through here, and hopefully that's all we'll have to deal with tonight.
I don't think he wants to be called Rain Man.
If Matt Carpenter starts playing the harmonica, then something's up. That's what Stan Musial had with him, no matter where you saw him.
What a great man. Huh? You spent a lot of time around Stan, didn't you?
He was dear friends with the guy on the left there. Here's a line drive caught by Hanley Ramirez. One of the greatest superstars in any sport I've ever had a chance to meet. Let's go to the 6th inning. Part of the order coming up for the Dodgers, down 1. Ninth year the Cardinals have been playing in this version of Busch Stadium. Opened in 2006 as Puig fouls it back, and the attendance here tonight represents the largest crowd in the history of this ballpark. 47,574.
Great crowd. They're loud too. Well, you saw Yasiel Puig foul that ball back. 7 straight strikeouts. No worse feeling in the sport when you foul back a pitch and now you're like, oh, here we go again.
1 ball, 1 strike. In fact, his last time up, he was up on the count 3-1 and was so geared up for a 3-1 fastball, he swung at a breaking ball in the dirt and eventually struck out swinging.
And that's what I'm saying. Look around, because he's got the ability to drop a bunt. Carpenter's playing him back in left field. You drop a bunt on him, get something going for yourself positive.
That's down toward the corner. Neshek on the run, won't get there. It's fair. Rattles around. Puig will end up at third base. And a good start to this 6th inning for the Dodgers as Puig breaks up that string of 7 straight strikeouts.
Now, I kid you not, Joe said, Harold, I don't know. I think, what if he triples?
I did.
You did. We were talking about that before the inning. What if he triples? And sure enough, he hits the ball in the corner, Tom, and rattles away. This kicks, and you know right there, you got a triple.
Stand up. Away, away, away. But this is the first time it was up and away. See the location? They've been getting him down and away. That's been the Achilles heel. Ball up, and Puig took advantage of it.
And I like the fact he doesn't need a coach in that situation to look over. He knows where the ball's at. He knows what he saw it kick and took off.
Now his mentor Adrian Gonzalez stands in and pops it into shallow left. Here comes Holiday. The tag by Puig. He goes nowhere. And Gonzalez has missed another RBI chance. 1 away.
Yeah, it was interesting. Remember in the first inning they had the bases, the infield drawn in. And that time they had the infield back, and he still wasn't able to pick up that run.
Difference for me is the out situation.
Yep.
Nobody out. You really have to defend the big inning. With 1 out, you can be more aggressive with your defense. Stunning to see Adrian Gonzalez twice not get the runner in from third base.
And if Lackey gets through this is the depth of the Dodger lineup. Matt Kemp has made a difference from last year's team to this year because he's healthy, he's swinging the bat.
Here he is. 25 home runs during the regular season. Had a game-winning home run 2 nights ago. Infield is in. Runner at third, 1 out. Strike 1 from Lackey.
Field drawn in, looking to cut that ball, that runner off. Now here, I don't think you go contact if you're the Dodgers. You got Hanley Ramirez on the on-deck circle. You got a runner at third base.
Tying run at third base. Strike 2, drilled the outside corner.
Wow.
That has been a strike. Matt Kemp didn't like it, but Dale Scott has stretched the zone on the outside corner. Fox track shows. No, maybe a little bit off.
Now back to my point, Joe, real quick with the contact play. You're running on contact if you're the runner at third base. I think with the infield drawn in, you know Hanley Ramirez is on the on-deck circle. If they throw Puig at the plate, now you got a runner at first. I say, why are you going to gamble, make the ball go through, and if it doesn't, I got Hanley Ramirez with the runner at third base. I'd rather take my chances with him with the runner at third with 2 outs than going ahead and changing my inning.
Smothered by Molina, 2-2.
Right now he's thinking about what do I want to do. I think he's going to continue to stay outside. Slider.
Kemp has delivered once. Big in this series on Saturday night. Trying to do that now in St. Louis. Tie it or give the Dodgers a lead. He strikes out.
It's a great pitch. In that situation, you're going to come back with 2 or 3 pitches off the plate, make Matt Kemp swing. If not, you got the double play set up. Here's the slider. Calling for it. Look at Yachty looking how he's setting up, and he's going to set up off the plate. But I really think, Tom, the pitch that set this inning up was the 0-1 pitch that was off the plate. He called a strike and put him in the 0-2 hole.
Just tremendous command of that slider. You're talking about a guy with more than 100 postseason innings, has given up 4 home runs, none to his last 249 batters. When you throw that many sliders, you think you'll hang one. Well, it's been a long time since John Lackey's done that.
Here's Ramirez, runner at third, 2 out now. That's into right, and this game is tied. Ramirez rescues the inning, and he does it with an RBI double with 2 out. It's 1-1, and Hanley Ramirez has tied it.
Well, one of the things that Hanley Ramirez does as good as anybody, and he's fortunate to have Puig and Kemp hitting in front of him. How are you going to pitch those right-handers? I think he's going to pitch me the same way. And he goes up knowing that they're throwing outside to Kemp. He's looking for a ball out. He saw Puig triple in the corner. Kemp punch out on balls away. He gets a fastball away. He's swinging at it because he's looking that direction because they pitch the other 2 right-handers that way.
Now the go-ahead run at second with 2 out. And Crawford, who has owned Lackey, checks his swing, strike 1.
Guys, I'll go back to Adrian Gonzalez when he told us before the game. John Lackey will make mistakes with the fastball up. The key, don't foul it back. Stay on top of the baseball. Yasiel Puig, Hanley Ramirez stayed on top of the baseball and capitalized on fastballs up.
Strike 2 on Crawford, who's 0 for 2 tonight, but 23 out of 50 in his career against Lackey. All 5 hits by the Dodgers have been to the opposite field. It includes the 2 extra base hits in this inning. The leadoff triple by Puig into the corner. The RBI double into right by Ramirez. Hard hit foul. Davey Lopes can still move around over at first.
Davies, great coach, but I think being at first base is his ability to steal bags. When I played with him as a coach in Baltimore, he would tell you, here's when you want to go. I might even say, go for you. He was that good at picking pitchers on when they might come over or maybe not.
Wait for another 0-2 to Crawford. And that'll be fouled back and out of play. Davey Lopes, who played for the Dodgers from 1972 to 1981. 28 home runs in 1979. 28 home runs.
And that's when second basemen weren't hitting the ball at the ballpark in those days.
He stole 40 bags in his 40s. That's a real 40-40 man.
Special.
And now Lackey wants to call Molina out. Maybe they're going to change the signs, Harold. What do you think?
Well, you know what? There is paranoia a lot of times. You know, that was an interesting subject I brought up in L.A.
Really?
You hadn't heard that much about that? Well, I heard it from the Cardinals and I heard it from the Dodgers. I heard it from both of them. And, you know, they made it pretty clear. We don't do that anymore. You know, those days are over. But, hey, what can you say? That's what they told me.
Hey, you're doing your job. They don't like it too bad.
Well, it just happens to be.
A strikeout ends the inning. And Lackey avoids further scoring, but gives up 2 extra base hits. Puig busts out of it with a triple. And with 2 out, scores on that from Ramirez. Bottom of the 6th, game 3. Another good one. Tied at 1. That means Matt Holliday, Johnny Peralta, Matt Adams. Strike one inside corner from Ryu. And while we talk so much about the guy on the right, and with good reason, Lackey's pitched brilliantly. The guy on the left, for his first start since the second week of September, has pitched great. And the count evens 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know what's amazing is the managers know their players so well. Donnie had no worry at all about this guy. And I have to be honest with you, I was a little concerned that Donnie wasn't paying attention. But he's on.
Uribe makes the play. 1 down.
You know, I started talking before about his work habits. He got to spring training, first spring training with the Dodgers last year, and said, I don't throw in between starts. And Mattingly and Honeycutt looked at each other like, what are we going to do? So they let him stick to his program. If he failed, they would have changed it to a more Americanized program. You can't argue with the results. That's why they didn't worry about this guy. He doesn't throw a whole lot between starts.
Well, as Don told us, Don Mattingly, he said, well, if we try to change him and then he struggles, then the only fix is to then go to inactivity between starts. So let him do his thing, and if he struggles, then we'll make him work between starts, which is something he had never done. Well, this guy was great last year and good in the postseason. He beat the Cardinals in the NLCS.
Remember, they signed him the day after they spent $147 million on Zach Greinke. How about the credit card bill of that month? The posting fee on Ryu, got to get this exactly right, $25,737,737.33. Now why? All those 3s and 7s.
Just inside, and Ryu does not get the corner.
I honestly thought, as we look at this replay, the number you were throwing out there was Joe's dinner tab last night. He bought for everybody. I was so impressed. Come to St. Louis, he hooks us up.
Here's Peralta on 1 and 2. Okay, why all the 3s?
I was waiting for the question. The answer's hanging in the air. I can't believe you waited that long. The answer is in Korea, South Korea, those are considered lucky numbers, 3 and 7. Ryu's career earned run average, 3.17.
You gotta be kidding. Wow.
Here's his 1-2 pitch. Still 1 and 2, as you saw Brian Wilson. Yes. The same Brian Wilson. If you don't watch the Dodgers during the regular season, former closer of the Giants, the Tommy John. Last year, so good out of the pen for the Dodgers. His stuff not as electric this year, but getting loose. Peralta hops out.
Well, I think this is what Donnie wanted to get to. He'd love to get him to 7. But now the game's going to get interesting because we're going to see what happens, which bullpen's going to be able to hold up.
2 and 2.
Well, I know you talked about this, Harold. It's interesting for Don Mattingly. It's not automatic by any means who to get up. First one out of the pen, game 1, Baez. Game 2, Howell.
That's low. Neither one of those two worked.
And that's why Brian Wilson is option number 3.
Here's Howell. He gave up the game-tying home run to who else? Matt Carpenter 2 nights ago. And Baez gave up a monster 3-run home run to Matt Holliday in game 1. Meanwhile, a 3-2 pitch is looped into center. Puig is to his right. 2 out. Didn't get a great break, but he closed on it fast in the in-game box score, brought to you by Geico. The RBI for the Cardinals belongs to the guy at the top. Matt Carpenter with a leadoff home run in the 3rd. There are the other hits. The guy digging in, Matt Adams, is 1 for 2.
Watching Puig make that catch, the only thing I can think of is he hasn't taken his offense to defense. As poor as he's struggled offensively, I know he hit the triple last at bat, 7 straight strikeouts before that. He didn't take the offense out there and mess up on defense.
Adams has the ability to lose a baseball.
This kid got some pop.
Again, hit under 200 against lefties, but he's 1 for 2 tonight. Got a big base hit off Kershaw in game 1. 15 home runs during the regular season, leans back, ball 2.
Well, it's interesting the shift they've thrown on Matt Adams. You pull Uribe over towards the middle there. He's by second base. That's actually the third base, and we got that fonted properly that way. And then the shortstop, Ramirez, stays where he's at. But what I like about Uribe, he's a guy who really has played most of his life in the middle of the diamond anyway.
For shortstop, world champion shortstop, Adams, 2-1.
You saw the outfield honoring straight away Matt Adams. See the direction of his hits. You're not going to see many ground balls to the left side. That's why you can swing Uribe over, but in terms of getting ball in the air, he will use the entire field.
Those are percentages of hits to those areas. So left, center, right. It's not that overloaded pulling the ball, but right now Adams with a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes waiting, and Ryu, guys, is giving Mattingly a perfect opportunity if he can get out of this bottom of the 6th inning. He's due up 3rd in the top of the 7th, and that would give Mattingly a chance to maybe lift him for one of his very good bench players to pinch hit.
No doubt about it.
What's it going to be on 2-2?
Well, if I'm Matt Adams and you see the shift like that in this situation, I want you putting one in the seats, big boy. I don't even care about the left side of the infield. We got a 1-1 game in the 6th. I want you swinging for the downs.
Scott Elbert, the left-hander, joining Brian Wilson. Back, Wilson has taken a seat. Here's one into center, right at Puig. Stalks it. He's got it. What a job tonight by Hyun Jin Ryu. He sends game 3 into the 7th inning, tied at 1. Comes out between innings and talks to the crew chief, in this case Dale Scott, because that usually means that unless Dale is double parked outside the stadium, we've got weather coming in, and it's evidently headed our way on a Monday night in St. Louis. Lackey back to work, and Uribe, we've seen a lot of that tonight. A lot of check swing strikes. It's 0-1. Juan not too good. His last 109 postseason at bats, he's hitting under 180. After a good start to October baseball in his career back in 2005 with the Chicago White Sox. White Sox just dominated that postseason.
Yeah, they sure did.
I mean, they didn't even need to bring the bullpen. The starting rotation was just lights out. That's into right. Grichuk, a nice jump, 1 out. What does Ken Rosenthal know about the weather that's headed our way? Kenny?
Joe, I'm told we're headed for a quick downpour, and by quick I mean 5 minutes. So it's going to be 5 minutes of heavy rain at some point, and then everything will be okay.
Take cover, man. I don't want you to have to retie that bow tie.
Might be a problem.
How long does that take you, by the way?
Depends on the day, Joe.
All right. Here's A.J. Ellis with 1 out, nobody on. Lackey rolling. Action for the Dodgers in their bullpen. And the super sub, the guy with a 340 average, Justin Turner, is in the on-deck circle.
That was pretty exact as far as a weather report goes, wasn't it? We saw him go out to the plate with his smartphone. Back in the old days, the guy used to go out there and say, I feel something in my knee.
Right. Lick his thumb and put it up in the air. Timeout called.
You know, guys, that shot of Ryu on the bench was interesting because it looks like he's still kind of got his game face on, although Justin Turner's out. Maybe not anymore.
Doesn't look good.
No, not anymore. He's done.
Ellis fouls it away in the count 0-2.
Well, you still hit Turner if it's 2 outs and nobody on base.
Well, that's.
I mean, you can burn Justin Turner in a non-RBI situation.
That's what I was thinking.
And go to the bullpen that quickly. I don't know. It's not an automatic call either way for Don Mattingly.
No, and that was the look I first saw, but then the second time we went back, it looked like, hey, I'm done. But we'll see how they work it.
Manus, the right-hander, choked the left-hander. A lot depends on what Ellis does. And he's backed up at 0-2. Been on base twice tonight. He walked his last time. He singled his first time when he flipped it into right, as the right-handed batters have done against Lackey here in Game 3. What you got, John Lackey, on 0-2? Ball 1.
Well, regardless of what happens this half inning, both these pitchers deserve a standing ovation. They have pitched through some tough treading waters and still have us at a 1-1 game. Been impressive.
I expect you to give it.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Left side foul. Follow the postseason with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the At Bat app for your smartphone or tablet. What a series. Another good game. Tied in the 7th. Here's a 1-2. 2-2.
You see how animated Yachty was on that? He wanted to bounce the ball, waving behind the hitter like, make sure you spike it, get it down, I'm going to block it. Here he is. Make sure you get this. He's moving the third baseman over. We're going to bounce one down this way. He may pull it, and then he's in a position to block that thing.
Here is a 2-2. Left side foul ball. How about A.J. Ellis? He's been 0-2 to foul ball. In all 3 of his plate appearances tonight, he singled his first time, then worked Lackey for a walk his next.
Great at bat. And how about Yachty, knowing exactly what his pitcher is going to do and what that hitter will do on the pitch he's called. He'd moved the third baseman over. What's he do? He chopped one's foul, but he moved Carpenter over in the position where he could make a play.
Tom, I didn't think the Cardinals would survive losing Yadier Molina, which they did for about 6 weeks.
Survived. They treaded water.
Torn tendon in his right thumb. Struck him out. 2 down. Strikeout number 8 for Lackey.
Well, you talked about his ability to grind out at bats with 2 strikes. A rare case where Ellis got him outside of the strike zone.
Well, Tom, you talked about not burning Justin Turner, and that's exactly what they're not going to do. They decided to go with Scott Van Slyke.
His dad was a star with the Cardinals, then really blossomed with the Pirates. And Scott grew up here in St. Louis, went to John Burroughs High School, and there was many inches of a beer to go for Scott Van Slyke. And this is a good player. He's really blossomed into somebody the Dodgers can use in their lineup, and he gives you some thump like the Cardinals do not have on their bench.
Great point, and that is the reason why it's Van Slyke and not Turner. 2 outs, nobody on. Try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's a guy who absolutely mashes left-handed pitching, but if you make a mistake, and Lackey doesn't make many, he can put a run on the board.
Had a home run in the season opener in Australia against Arizona. And there was a time there where he was finding himself in the lineup more than on the bench when they were trying to figure out the configuration in the outfield. He even proved he could play center for the Dodgers. 2 hops, Peralta, Lackey. A star tonight. Time to stretch in St. Louis. Bottom part of the order coming up for the Cardinals in a 1-1 game. The numbers for Elbert in 7 games. Here's Molina down into the corner. First pitch, and he jumped it. And Yadier Molina, the go-ahead run, is at second with nobody out in the 7th.
Well, to me, this was the at-bat Don Mattingly had to hold his breath. He brought in Elbert with the left-handers Jay and Wong behind him. But obviously in the way, a terrific first ball hitter. The matchup platoon advantage goes to Yadier Molina, and he takes advantage of Elbert.
And And so now with the rain coming down here in the 7th inning, the batter is John Jay. The left-handed hitting Colton Wong on deck. And the right-hander Brandon Lee getting ready for the Dodgers in their pen.
Well, this time I think you got to take the shot to move him over with the bunt. You know you got the pitcher out, you can pitch hit.
And the bunt is perfect. 1 out. Go ahead run to third. Molina on a good bunt by Jay.
The situation was different than earlier in the game because you knew then that Lackey was going to be hitting. But now that Lackey's removed, you got that protection of the next hitter after Wong. And then you go back to the top of the order. Whoever they decide to go to, whether it's Tavares or Borges or whoever it might be, the decision they decide to make.
But this is the key at bat now. With the infield in, Molina does not run well. The runner at third. 1 out, and Colton Wong at the plate. Rain lets up. High fly ball to right. At the wall. It is gone. The rookie goes deep in the 7th. Tavares.
What a difference a year makes for Colton Wong. Last year, remember the World Series, he gets picked up in the game. You felt like he was going to have a big year this year. Just a chance to come back and show people the type of player he could be.
More magic in the 7th inning for the Cardinals. And another home run for the Cardinals against this Dodger bullpen.
Pedro Baez, J.P. Howell, and now Scott Elbert. 3 different choices. First man out of the pen for Don Mattingly. Each one giving up a home run.
3-1. St. Louis on top. Bottom of the 7th inning. Tavares. This was not a cinch, by the way, taking Lackey out of this ballgame. I mean, Lackey is rolling. They got the home run. Bases empty. 1 out. But Mike Matheny still went with a pinch hitter, Tavares.
Yeah.
And he grounds out.
You know, the thing I take away, I find interesting about the moves that Mattingly has made, the players have to execute. He's put guys, he's got the lefty matchup once again. You see the home run from Wong off the lefty the other night. J.P. Howell, the left-hander, to get Carpenter. And then the home run with Baez to Holiday at the right-hander matchup. So he's done, put guys in a position, they just haven't been effective.
Tells me he lost confidence in Howell, went to a pitcher who was in the minor leagues in AAA until mid-September to try to navigate the 7th inning.
Well, Tom, I thought you were dead on when you said the big at bat was Yadi Molina. That was the one left-hander you didn't, the right-handed hitter that was not matched up with the lefty.
Molina doubled. Wong hit the home run. Now the left-handed hitting Matt Carpenter.
And I feel like I'm watching Reggie Jackson or something when Carpenter comes to the plate. They're not out of the woods with this man at the plate.
But now Lackey's out of the game, and St. Louis is going to have to go to their bullpen. The Dodgers will have the top of their lineup to the plate in the 8th. That's a strike from Elbert.
And that's not a bad thing for Mike Matheny when you say have to go to the bullpen. He's got so many more good options than Don Mattingly, and with 2 of the first 3 batters left-handed hitters, he has better options than Mattingly, and that makes it easier to make that tough decision to get Lackey out of the game.
Well, we talked about at the beginning of the game at the top that you got into a bullpen game, advantage Cardinals. Happy for that young man. He's been through a lot. And it's really, he's going to be big time big league play.
Ball traveled a long way off his bat, and another home run by a lefty off a lefty. Here's one down toward the corner, and another extra base hit for Matt Carpenter. Kemp gets it back in, and that will likely be it for Elbert here in the 7th. Here comes Mattingly. And the team that could not hit the home run during the regular season, the Cardinals, with only 105 home runs as a team, the fewest in the National League, have pounded out 2 tonight. One by that man Carpenter, but the tiebreaker here in the 7th by the rookie second baseman Colton Wong. Brandon League's coming in, and the kid enjoys an October curtain call. Wong has put the Cardinals on top, 3-1. Games 1 and 3, 10 out of 14 have scored 10 runs, 5 extra base hits. Now runner at second, Carpenter, 2 out. Big lead by Carpenter. Grichuk hits one into left. We'll have a play at the plate, and now they hold Carpenter late. Jose Oquendo threw up the stop sign. Carpenter stomped on the brakes after getting around third base. First and third, 2 out.
Yeah, you got to credit Carl Crawford. This ball's hit hard, but Crawford charging hard forced Oquendo to make the decision to hold it. Watch Crawford come get this ball. You got to hold him. He's 3 steps before he gets to third base. That's why you hold it. And plus you got Holiday coming to the plate. It's been swinging the bat, but I thought Crawford charging hard enough, it gave Oquendo something to read, and he saw it early and put the hands up.
That's a great stop. A lot of times you think 2 outs, third base coach will send the runner almost automatically. I agree, where they are in the lineup, Crawford getting to that ball, great decision.
So the wave and the stop by Oquendo. Now first and third, 2 out for Holiday. The middle. League knocks it down and gets the out. That was headed for center.
Wow.
And would have scored 1 run immediately. And who knows what that would have led to, but the body of League stopped it. out of the hand of Elbert, off the bat of Colton Wong. And after 7 in Game 3, the home team, the Cardinals, up on the Dodgers, 3-1. Here's a line drive, now one hop on a short hop to Adams, and D. Gordon hit it hard against Pat Neshek, but he's out number 1 in the top of the 8th inning. It's Neshek on the mound. It's John Jay moving from center to left, and it's Peter Borges in the game in center. Will bat in the number 9 spot. Holiday is out. That's where the pitcher will bat 3rd in the Cardinal lineup.
Well, they're going for defense. They feel like they got the 2-run lead, and as good as their bullpen has pitched, Mike Matheny's saying, I'm willing to take that gamble.
Ball 1 outside the Yasiel Puig, who has scored the only Dodger run of the night. Neshek, an all-star. Busy all year, and he's the one that gave up a game-winning home run to Kemp 2 nights ago in Game 2. Strike 1.
Harold, I'm just going to remind you about your standing ovation for Mr. Lackey.
Oh, I gave it to him.
What a game he pitched.
Incredible. Both he and Ryu were phenomenal.
Here's a 1-1. Strike 2.
But the game has come down to this, Joe. It's down to the bullpen. We knew that's where it would be, and this is where we're at.
Well, Ryu did his part, but the Dodger bullpen blinked again. Lackey 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 8 strikeouts and a walk. That is out number 2.
Tried to check on the sweeping slider. Once again, down and away, Puig with no answers.
it's Adrian Gonzalez with 2 out, nobody on. Brian Wilson getting loose again. Strike 1.
If there's anything they're going to think about, maybe, is the Yadi Molina at bat. Did they skip Wilson and maybe not go to him?
Closer, Trevor Rosenthal getting loose. Check swing strike on Gonzalez. It's 0-2.
Neshek is nasty tonight. When you're getting this many check swings, ball's exploding.
Fought it off, Adrian Gonzalez.
Amazing he was able to stay back on that flutter ball at 68 miles an hour. One of the best off-speed hitters in all of baseball. He's a very big bat, stays back on the ball so well.
Gonzalez has a home run in this series. That was against Choate. He flies this one into left. Jay is there. Pitching tonight by the Cardinals. First Lackey. Now Neshek. Bottom of the 8th inning rolls in. 3-1 St. Louis. Brian Wilson, the man who I think should get credit for basically inventing the dyed long black beard.
Well, it's got a lot of mileage, that's for sure.
Wow. Had that for a while. That's fair. Down the line, Peralta, at least 2. Crawford gets to it. Double for Johnny Peralta. First hit of the night for the Cardinal shortstop. For those of you just joining us, in case you were watching another sport, There you go. 3-1 in game 3. Series tied at a game apiece, but another good game. Lackey was terrific. And he has rewarded the Cardinal front office and general manager John Mozeliak for the trade that he pulled off with the Red Sox. 3rd inning, guess what? Matt Carpenter, home run. Guess what? Off the left-hander.
Ho, again, huh?
Yeah, just whatever. Another night, another lefty, another lefty. And again off the bullpen of the Dodgers. This time Colton Wong, the rookie, to make it 3-1. And now with Matt Adams up after the double by Peralta, we see an intentional pass from Brian Wilson to Matt Adams.
Well, you got to try to manage the inning. You don't anticipate Yadi Molina dropping a punt as you start looking at where they're at in their lineup, but you got to try to figure out how to get out of this inning. The Dodgers bullpen is just really struggling.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter, Tom. If the Dodgers bullpen, the guys before Kenley Jansen can't get outs and lefties can't get left-handed batters out, then what are you supposed to do?
Absolutely. It really is not about managing. It's about choices. And Don Mattingly has no good choices right now to try to get the game to his closer.
Their closer's lights out. And since the middle part of the season has been perfect, but they can't get to him. They did in game 2. And he had a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Now it's Brian Wilson with 2 on, nobody out, and Molina at the plate.
And you may see him, but they're hoping he's swinging, but he may move him over the way Wong and Jay have been swinging.
Hacking, and he fouls it off. Here's what's in front of us in this series. The Cardinals leading tonight. They'll have at least a 2-run lead for their closer, Trevor Rosenthal, tonight. But the man on the left, Don Mattingly, has Clayton Kershaw teed up for tomorrow's start against Shelby Miller, a young right-hander, with the man on the right. Here's the 0-1. Strike 2.
Joe, if you got to draft the major league pitchers, I'd take that guy 100 times out of 100 times with the first pick. But there's one huge hole in his resume, and that's the postseason. 10 career postseason games. Clayton Kershaw 1-4 with a 5.2 ERA.
It'll be the last hope for the Dodgers as it stacks up right now, unless they rally in the ninth. That's tomorrow afternoon. Right now, an 0-2 pitch to Molina. Ball 1. Velocity is down for Brian Wilson, who insists that he's healthy.
Well, he has other ways to get hitters out, the cutter especially, but came in, the first pitch was a curveball, which he rarely throws, and got burned on that.
Molina doubled and scored his last time up. This crowd is alive. Inside corner, got him looking. And Wilson fooled Molina as he sneaks that one in there, 1 out.
Well, Del Scott's been consistent all night with this pitch. Whether you like it or not, he's been consistent on calling that ball right there.
Framed up by A.J. Ellis. And a big strikeout for Brian Wilson. Just trying to keep it a 2-run game. Here comes Mattingly, Kemp, Hanley Ramirez, and Carl Crawford. Big bats coming up for the Dodgers in the ninth. Right now, coming out for the Dodgers is Wilson. Coming in, Howell. to stay tuned immediately following this game on Fox Sports 1. You've got Fox Sports Live. Jay and Dan will have highlights and analysis from here in San Francisco, where the Nationals won to force a Game 4. Plus, Randy Moss and Donovan McNabb will have instant reaction from Washington following the Seahawks-Redskins game. Fox Sports Live. It's a fun show. Check it out next on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. J.P. Howell, second lefty out of the bullpen for Don Mattingly. 2 on, 1 out. John Jay. Ball 1. Cardinals have already hit 6 home runs over 3 games.
Amazing.
All season long, the most home runs in any series they hit is 5. So this club that was last in the National League in home runs has outpowered the Dodgers in this division series so far. Jay, 2-0. Where's the confidence level for J.P. Howell right now?
It's hard to find it on the scale. Matched up against John Jay in Game 2. Jay had that hard hit for an infield single. Already behind on the count.
Even in this situation, Don Mattingly doesn't have to look far to have hope. I know the postseason numbers aren't good for Clayton Kershaw at 1-4 and an ERA over 5. But if Don Mattingly looks a couple of seats over to his left, he sees that maybe baseball's best. Certainly in the regular season, I think MVP in the National League to be ready to get the ball tomorrow. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Base hit. Peralta was going back to second, and the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Well, that's that hole John Jay's been shooting for all night. Remember off Ryu. Ryu started to bust him inside. This ball's going to end up back out over right, playing right into his hands, right where he wanted that ball. Drives it the opposite way.
He's got such a great approach against left-handed pitchers. 375 against lefties. It just stays closed for so long. Shoots the ball the other way.
John Jay hit 375 against left-handed pitching, and they don't phase him one bit. He's proven that in this series.
Tell you what, this Dodger bullpen is tough. You know, you're looking at what you were talking about, Joe, with looking to your left if you're Don Mattingly with Clayton Kershaw. You just want to get one game here and take it back to L.A. because it's not only Kershaw, it's Greinke. What a luxury for a club to have.
Well, here's Wong. He could bust it wide open. He gave the Cardinals the lead last inning with a 2-run home run off the left-hander Elbert. And this kid Wong, a rookie, hit 315 against left-handed pitching this season.
You're looking at the polar opposite when you look at J.P. Howell's face and Colton Wong's face. He's oozing with confidence. Wong, that is.
He launched one last inning. One ball, one strike. Left-handers in this series against the left-hander J.P. Howell, 5 for 6. The home run. That was Carpenter 2 nights ago in L.A. in Game 2. Strike 2. Howell had a great year until he stumbled a bit at the back end of September, and it seems to have carried over.
Yeah, picked a wrong time to slump. That was one of his better breaking balls. The curveball had very good bite on it. Something to build on. Right now, he has to go to strikeout mode.
Well, that's what the Dodgers were talking about, is that the stuff looks good. Same thing out of the bullpen, same thing in the game. It's just the confidence of When you get banged around a little bit, you do lose a little bit of confidence. That's what he's doing right now. He's struggling with.
Two and two.
But he is really taking time between pitches.
Yeah, way too much.
Every pitch, a lot of thinking going into it.
And one pitch breaks it open, though, too.
It's a two-run game now. How did he stop that? Out at the plate, got them both.
Oh, my goodness.
It was between the legs.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. He walks off yelling, what?
This ball found him.
I'm looking at the replay. I don't know how. It looks like it went right through his leg.
And the presence of mind to catch it and go to the plate.
Wow. Howell keeps it a two-run game. Off to the ninth in game 3. Takes over. Protecting a two-run lead, ninth inning, game 3. Strike one poured in at 97.
He had that time off. He felt rejuvenated. We saw it the other night in L.A. hitting 100, 98, 97. That's the first curveball we've seen this series from him. Other than that, it was just here it is, hit it.
Only 24 years old with a lot of postseason experience already. Fought off, strike 2. Already his 19th career postseason game. 5 for 6 in save opportunities. Took over last year. Close. Ball 2.
That was a real good pitch from Rosenthal. The key really is having the discipline to make him get the ball down. You have no chance above the hands. That one just misses the plate.
Got him on the outside corner, and Kemp's going to say it's the same pitch. Called strike 3, 1 away.
He did say it's the same pitch. Yes, it is. That's what he was saying, Joe. Good lip reading.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, not either.
See, the 4 on Fox Tracks is covered up by the 5.
It's an identical pitch. They went for a ball. Here's the previous pitch. That's ball 2. Here's this pitch. They went for strike 3. 1 out. Hanley Ramirez, strike 1. Ramirez 2 for 3 tonight. He has the only RBI for the Dodgers, a double with 2 out in the 6th.
That's what happens when you have a good conversation with the catcher that can talk. Hey, we got to have that pitch. That looks like a good pitch here. And then to come back and hit the same spot, you get it. That happens.
One ball, 1 strike. Dodgers need a base runner to have a chance. Outside corner. Ramirez didn't like it. Strike 2.
Finally, he throws the curveball for a strike. The other 2 you can just dismiss out of the hand. That was a good one. Still have to protect against high 90s right here.
Which he does. 98. Fouled away.
Look, I don't care if he paints every curveball, throws it anytime he wants. When you're throwing 98, 99, you got to look fastball and adjust and fight it off if you get something off speed. But you got to look for that fastball.
Up the middle. A 1-out base hit for Hanley Ramirez. And the Dodgers will bring the tying run to the plate here in the 9th. The One is brought to you by Fox Sports Live. Stay tuned right after the game to get all the latest highlights and news from the world of sports. Every night they pick out the one highlight, and certainly in Game 3 to this point, that's the one. The 2-run shot by Wong in the 7th to make it 3-1. Carl Crawford would like to get on that list. Chased it. Strike 1.
Tell you what, to put us in this position, great piece of hitting by Hanley Ramirez. Got an off-speed pitch, took it back up the middle.
Crawford with 7 career postseason home runs. Nothing in 2. On deck is Uribe. These are those moments when you are just reminded how great this sport is.
No doubt. You have no idea how the game is going to unfold.
And it's Rosenthal against Crawford. And Crawford with a good swing to keep it 1-2.
Left it out over the plate, but when you throw 98, 99, it's tough to square up. That's why power pitching in the postseason, you hear that all the time, you can make mistakes with it and still be able to get away with it.
Interesting that while Rosenthal is on the mound, Carlos Martinez the other young, hard-throwing right-hander who has typically set up Rosenthal late in the year, is getting loose.
Crawford had a good enough pass at that fastball for Rosenthal to go to the changeup.
Just a looper into center. A base hit. And it's 2 on with 1 out here in the 9th inning. Good at bat by Carl Crawford.
Again, another off-speed pitch. Watch him go down, get this changeup, and stay with that ball. Beautiful piece of hitting.
That's the changeup again. 2 hits, both off-speed pitches.
When you wonder why Martinez is up in the pen, look, this is a must-win for me for the Cardinals. You're looking at Kershaw and Greinke back-to-back. And if they're able to put their games together, you're in a tough spot. This is a must-win. That's why you get Martinez up. And if you have to do it, you do it. You check your egos at the door.
Well, Tom, I think you'll agree. Mike Matheny, since he took over, he's now in his 3rd year, he has never been worried about hurting somebody's feelings. If he doesn't think Rosenthal's got it tonight, he'll go get it.
Well, I think the other thing, Joe, one of the worst things I think a manager can say in October is that's the way we did it all year. The rules of engagement in October have to be extremely different.
That burned the Nationals on Saturday. Now it's 2 on, 1 out. Tying runs are on at 1st and 2nd for Uribe. Ball 1. Ball 2, not close. Trevor Rosenthal had 45 saves during the regular season, but walked 42. And when he did it, he became the 4th closer to have 40 or more saves, despite walking 40 or more batters. And here comes Mike Matheny.
And right after that pitch, it was Yadier Molina who took a glance into the dugout, and that was the signal that Mike Matheny read. Those last 2 pitches, Rosenthal really got out of his delivery, and Yadier picked it up right away.
Picked it up, and that's the key to that veteran catcher. They're going to talk about an injury right now because you saw how Rosenthal finished. That might be what they're discussing. They will maybe get the grounds crew to come out. But watch as you see the pitch pull away. Yadi immediately is going to pop up. But watch Rosenthal's finish in his delivery right here. He spins out with the left foot. So they may be calling for a little rosin down on the field.
So a little bit of a delay here, and you're right. Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, asked the grounds crew to come out, and they're going to have to get that drying agent to put in front of the pitching rubber.
Also, the other thing that happens here, gives you a little bit of a TO, a little timeout. Comes the grounds crew, but also gives you a little timeout.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with Yadi. Rosenthal misses by a lot. You think, okay, conference to the mound. He heads out, and as he walked out there, he just gave enough of a glance to Mike Matheny to say, we got something going on here.
Has anybody in the history of the world ever had more pressure on them while they raked something?
You're right.
These poor kids are out there like, everybody's waiting.
October for everybody.
Then the other side of it is like, hey, I'm getting some airtime.
Bill Finley is the head of the grounds crew here in St. Louis, does a great job.
Look at him. Like, man, I'm holding the rake. I know, man. I got the shovel. We on TV.
I think the guy in the glasses is even on the grounds crew. He's getting a chance to get on camera.
Yep. He's going to turn around and ask Carpenter for an autograph here in a second. Watch.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. So am I. Hey, back to it, though. This is a big at-bat, 2-0 count. I've been surprised that he came to the off-speed pitches. We saw the 2 base hits on a changeup.
Mike Matheny went to Yadier Molina and said something while they were all out on the mound. The leash is short right now for Trevor Rosenthal. I think if he loses this batter, Uribe, we'll see 44 in the game.
Yeah, and you're looking at Ellis and then probably Andre Ethier for the Dodgers.
Can Rosenthal throw a strike? Uribe was waiting for one and fouls it away. 2-1.
And will he throw anything else but fastballs?
He's got to reach back and challenge him. You know, they've been able to catch up to the breaking pitch. The fastball, nobody has shown in 2 games now that can catch up and handle it.
Here's a 2-1. Inside, 3-1. Two on, 1 out. Full count.
I'm surprised Uribe, a veteran hitter, to hack at that one.
Yeah, it was a ball down and away.
Not a quality 3-1 pitch.
(3-2) in the air to right. Grichuk is there. 2 out. Tagging going to third is Ramirez with 2 down in the 9th. And now A.J. Ellis is going to be the hitter with runners at first and third, 2 down. Here's the 3-1 pitch.
Nothing you can do with that pitch. Much better off letting that go by and force Rosenthal. And you might get the call there on ball 4. And then you force Matheny to make a decision on Rosenthal.
Here's A.J. Ellis. Hit 191 during the regular season. 6 for 10 in this division series. In the air to right. Grichuk is there. Cardinals win game 3. And after Mike Matheny called for the grounds crew to come out and help the footing for Trevor Rosenthal and slow things down, Rosenthal gets the next 2 guys to pick up the save for John Lackey.
And he came through. You can see the excitement from Rosenthal, but I thought this game played perfectly into the Cardinals' hand. The bullpen for the Dodgers wasn't able to hold it. Their bullpen lined up, and they were able to execute.
Let's go down to the field and Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. Colton, the 2-run home run off Elbert. You raised your fist. You knew right away. What was your approach going into that at bat?
Just trying to see something that I knew I could drive. You know, I never faced that guy before. Doing my study, I knew he had a sinker. I knew, you know, he was a tough pitcher on lefties. I just wanted to make sure I hit something in the air, something deep enough where we could score Yachty.
Now, everyone remembers Game 4 of last year's World Series. You got picked off to end the game. How rewarding was it for you tonight to have this moment, to get this curtain call, to play the role of hero?
Unbelievable. You know, that's the beauty of baseball, man. Things can turn around, you know, in an instant. You know, to go from last year, you know, I knew I wanted to come back and prove that that wasn't me. I knew that, you know, I made a mistake, and, you know, I didn't want that to happen again. So, you know, I definitely came in here, you know, prepared, ready to, you know, play second base and try and do something.
Yet you didn't have an easy road this season. You got sent to the minors at one point early on. You spent some time on the DL. What did you have to do to become the player you are right now?
Just grind, man. You know, this season is so long. I never anticipated how long a full Major League season is. And, you know, just the ups and downs of, you know, not producing and getting hurt, you know, really, you know, struck me hard this year. But, you know, all in all, it was a great year. I learned a lot. And, you know, I'm just excited to be here right now.
Colton, congratulations. Joe, back to you.
The rookie with a huge home run, the 2-run shot in the 7th inning. The difference tonight in Game 3. There still has not been an error in this divisional series. It has been well pitched, well played. Another tight one. The final is 3-1. Lackey the winner. He's now 7-5 in his career in the postseason. The loss to Elbert. And Trevor Rosenthal, save number 6 in his young career in October baseball. 3-1. Cardinals take Game 3. See you tomorrow. Now, Fox Sports Live, Jay and Dan, take it away.